Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. Got the Mad New Yorker backstage. Going to go over, recap last week's games and go over this week's biggest games in the college football playoff, the second round. And, of course, this week's NFL games, 3 games particular with playoff implications on the line. Got a really big week ahead of us here, okay? So stand by. Let's take our first and only break. We'll be back here momentarily, and we'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
Okay, folks, we're back here, and we've got the Mad New Yorker coming back on a The crowd loves you. Yes, Andre, that was a good win for Vanderbilt over Georgia Tech here. Some sad news come about just about an hour ago. Former CBS, I mean, you've been watching sports for a long time. We're the same age. It's a big part of my childhood, just listening to certain voices. And Greg Gumbel passed away 78 years old. I don't know what happened at the time. It was a battle with cancer. Didn't know he even had cancer. Do you have any thoughts on Greg Gumbel? Legendary sports broadcaster, you know.
First of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Everybody, I hope you're enjoying your holidays, your break, your time with your family.
Yeah.
And,
Happy New Year. Yeah.
It's Sunday, Ricky Henderson, RIP. Today, this afternoon, Greg Gumbel. Listen, we're getting to a point where we're now like voices online, in podcasts.
Yeah.
Everybody has an opinion, but back in the day, we had opinions. We talked about it, but we weren't in the media. We weren't in online. We didn't have that that airtime that we that we had to get on TV to watch back in the day. And this man, him and his brother, two of the most iconic.
Right. Yeah.
Greg Gumbel, he did his thing on NFL for sports on CBS and a lot, probably in a couple other networks. And like you said, a voice that you wait to listen for. Once you hear that football sound by CBS, you knew you was going to hear Gumbel. And
we got a good AFC game coming up,
Right. So it's a sad day when someone like that, iconic voice like that, passes. And my condolences to family and friends and people in the media, CBS, the Bryant family, all those people. He's going to be missed, and it's a good thing that he is on video, he is on camera, his voice has been recorded, because that man, he did his thing, and he did it for a good time, and we've all enjoyed having him be part of the broadcast. So it's a sad moment, but again, luckily we're in a time where all those things we can go back and watch if we ever want to recap, so.
Yeah, it's true. Couldn't have said it better myself here. I didn't even put this game in last week. I got so distracted, but Washington, Philadelphia, very good game. Probably the best game of the last weekend. What's your thoughts on Jayden Daniels? His numbers are better than Stroud's were this time last year, and I thought maybe C.J. Stroud may be the second coming. Any thoughts on that big upset there? Commanders beating the Eagles last week.
Yeah, so if you combo that game with the game last night, and you saw the two first-rounder quarterbacks, we mentioned it before.
Number 1 and number 2, yeah.
We mentioned it before that, like, we would go for Daniels, right? We would go for, like, he was a guy who looked better on tape, who looked like he had better command of the football of a team, where Caleb Williams was very athletic, good arm. And right now, the truth is in the tape. I mean, you get what you see, and these guys are putting on the field. Jayden Daniels is doing more with less than Caleb Williams did with what he had in Chicago. I mean, granted, they lost their coach, and
has a better scheme. Daniels does,
right? So
Kingsbury's, he's, I would pay him what I could to keep him there as an OC for the next 5 years. I think they could do something big up there in Washington.
I'm not surprised, especially right now because the NFC East is not strong. In which I was wrong, because I was like, well, it's only going to get better, where the NFC North has become better. So I was wrong in that. I didn't think those teams would step it up, but they all stepped up, and he had the opportunity. The opportunity was there for him, and he took it, right? So that's one of those things that you want from a quarterback, and he has some consistency, man, and that's another thing that you're looking for in a quarterback. So that game was good. I thought it was going to be one of those games that was going to go be close, and it was way too close. And he did a heck of a job. He came through, right? He did what he's supposed to do. 5 touchdowns, two picks against that defense. It's been off the chart the last 10 games. And another thing, Pickens, it wasn't that. He showed more composure on the field than Pickens did for the Eagles with the team that Pickens is surrounded. I mean, Pickett. Oh wait, yeah, Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
The quarterback.
Because Hurts went out. Yeah,
Hurts went out. So I feel like Jayden Daniels did better as a quarterback and did more with this offense than Pickett did as a backup trying to stay in the game. So I'm not sure if that was a coaching thing, if that was a quarterback thing, but there was no balance there, and they had the game to lose, and they did. They gave it away. So, kudos to Jayden Daniels, and that game I think solidified the fact that he's going to get Rookie of the Year. I think.
Yes, yeah. That was a showcase. Yeah, that was a Heisman moment. Pittsburgh College. Daniels is off the hook, man. I don't know if he's going to hit that sophomore slump or not, but I do think that his numbers are better than Stroud's were last year, other than the interceptions. But if you compare him to a good defense like a Baltimore, that was a 1-score game against the Ravens earlier this season. You seeing how Stroud, not to pick on Stroud, but look how awful that Christmas Day game was against Baltimore's defense. Look how he played last year in the playoffs against Baltimore's defense. And ultimately, I'll give him a pass. His first career start was against Baltimore. So,
we kind of have to put perspective that,
it's just 1 year, but man, is he impressed.
No, but he lost Dell. He lost Tank. Right?
Yes.
And then on top of that, he just got back Nico
Well, Collins, but
Collins, yeah, he just came back.
But
so
he had Mitch, he had Schwartz. He's way too hesitant out there. You know?
He has a team. It's all about balance, right? It's about having that balance and then being comfortable. And he just seemed like he was trying too hard. And every game, it seems like he's trying too hard. And he needs other players around him to kind of step it up. Like I said that running back that they got from Cincinnati,
Mixon.
I didn't think that was as good as a pickup.
Well, he's past his prime. I actually think that was a good move by Cincinnati.
Right. So I said that earlier in the year. I was like, I'm not sure if that's a good pickup because Houston's a younger team and he made them older and slower. So, but look.
I didn't like the Diggs move either.
Yeah, these kids are doing well. Quarterbacks, and you can flip side it, and there's other quarterbacks right now that no matter what they do, they can't win. Like Burrow in Cincinnati, right?
Well, it helps when you got a good organization around you.
Exactly.
I tell you what, if Bo Nix was on some of these teams like Tennessee, I just don't, not Tennessee, but you put him on another team, not with the Sean Payton type. I don't know how good. Put Bo Nix in New England. I mean, he's going to look like Bo Nix in Auburn.
Do you think Bo Nix?
Worse.
Do you think Bo Nix on the Bears would have had a better winning record than Caleb?
No,
Williams?
I think it's a lot of that is coaching and scheme. I got a little bit more faith than everybody else does in Caleb Williams. Now he does go off script too much. It's going to be interesting to see who they get. The more I think about it, I know what the narratives are out there. I hear a lot of the national personalities. I hear the Chicago personalities. I don't know, man. The more I think about a Ben Johnson, I think he would be good to work with Caleb Williams in Chicago, and that's the offensive coordinator for the Lions,
right,
who's had some really good years. We're talking 3 years straight now, I want to say, with Goff and that bunch. So, but then again, he might not be head coaching material, but I do think that he would be able to work out some of the kinks that Caleb Williams has.
Do you think Pete Carroll is he's put himself out there? Do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't shun Pete Carroll at all. I mean, it depends on who he brings in as the OC. Do you want to get a defensive guy for an older defensive guy? That defense will be a lot better and a lot more consistent under Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll will be a better fit with Jacksonville, if you ask me. If they let go of Doug Peterson, I'm pretty sure they're going to.
Right.
With Jacksonville, and of course with Trevor Lawrence per se, he could tighten that defense up real quick. But just one note about Jacksonville, not to get too far off course here. If I'm the owner there, I would dump that general manager and go get Joe Douglas, former Jet general manager. There's too many people who cannot get along with Balky. I thought it was maybe just Jim Harbaugh, but then it was a former quarterback there that used to play there, said he didn't want to work with him. So there's something with that guy. And I didn't like that first pick he picked anyways. I think he's overrated. I think he's one of those guys, he looks the part, but he's just an actor playing a general manager. It's like Will Levis looks like a quarterback with all the eyeliner. He's got the hair, but really he's just an actor playing a quarterback. He's not. He's Keanu Reeves made me better. So
he's just an athlete staying at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I used to use that all the time. Say, we have a doctor in the house. So like, no, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
No, I mean, I don't. I feel like
funny, dude.
I feel like the Chicago Bears had the best opportunity to be in the playoffs this year. Eberflus had that defense remming the end of last season, the beginning of this season. They were 4-2. They came out hitting. They weren't. It was just.
And it's like they got
something happened.
Sidetracked, some ADD or something. And
so I'm not worried about what the media is saying. I do know this. If they go back to a defensive-minded coach, like a Vrabel, like a Pete Carroll.
That's what a lot of people are saying, Vrabel.
Like
fix the culture in there.
Right. I just don't. I don't know. I don't. The most important thing is that you had the opportunity to get a Caleb Williams, find somebody that's gonna help this kid become a better quarterback. Bring in someone like Steve Marucci, bring in someone like Gruden to help this guy be a quarterback. He don't have to be a coach. They don't have to be coaches. They just could be sitting there and be, consultants.
Yeah, they could use a John Gruden. He's offensive and he's a culture trainer.
They just need somebody in there that to guide the kid if the offensive coordinator isn't enough. Because offensive coordinator have way too much on their plate anyways. And if you look like at the coaches that are offensive minded, then there's a lot that are struggling right now. And even someone like Dable in New York, they can't just take somebody and prop them up and make them better than what they already are. This is way too much.
The knock on some of these young offensive guys is they're not confrontational when they have to make a move on the staff. They're a little bit more passive. They're more like Air Force guys versus defensive guys are more like Marines.
Right.
Yeah. So you need a balance of that. You need that balance there. Somebody to get in some of the coaches' rear end. Plus, you need a guy that's open-minded enough to really push for offensive pieces and scheme, and to make sure that you got the opposition on its heels at all times. Like O'Connell up in Minnesota, who's probably going to win Coach of the Year and should win Coach of the Year. Hey, what do you think about Kansas City, man? Got the number 1 seed again.
Oh, man.
Are they the team to beat now? Were they 14-1 or 15-1 or something like that?
So here's the thing. Nobody wants to play that team in the playoffs. And that's what they did. They set themselves up to be the front runners, and everybody's looking up at them. They don't have to turn around and look back. They could just do what they want to do. They do what they have to do. And even if they're going to win a game, it's not going to be by much, right? But they put the fear in everybody else. Now they got an extra wide receiver. Travis Kelce's doing well.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown back. Yeah.
Pacheco's back. He's running on another gear. Like everybody. So nobody wants to play him. So they did themselves some due diligence. They put they made the plays on the field. They put the game on the field. They won. And now anybody who's in that bracket, they don't want to see them. They don't want to play them.
That's true.
And that's good for that team because that team is trying to find their balance now that everybody's back. So what up, Jeremy?
Jeremy Ballrick, everybody. Great show.
Yeah, I don't. As much as they're number 1, they are. You can if you're competitive enough, you can make a game for them. But they're even if you're competitive, you can't just compete with them. You got to win. So, and I don't know if there's enough teams in the AFC that can flip that switch and be more than competitive. I mean, maybe Baltimore on a good day, and maybe Buffalo. The problem with both of those teams.
But anybody else in the AFC has no shot against Kansas City, in my opinion.
It's possible. It's possible we'll see a three-peat. I mean, I want to see in the end. I want to see Cincinnati and the Ravens go at it again. I want to see that, but I don't think a lot of people want to see that. To be honest with you, I think they're kind of sick of that. But that's what it is.
Pittsburgh has no shot against Kansas City. You think about the AFC West, a Charger team, they're shorthanded. They're just not there yet. They just feel so beatable. But statistically, they have the best points defense in the league right now. Points allowed. I mean, Brett Veach has hit it out of the park, man, with these linebackers. They just drafted well.
Right. So we talked about it. We talked about the fact that they drafted well. They're young. They're fast. They're
only one old guy on that defense. That's Chris Jones, the tackle.
Yeah, and he wasn't playing. Right. He didn't play last week.
They still beat Pittsburgh pretty handily. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, like I said, I think the you and I are on the same page, and I think what we can say about Kansas City is that it's their game to lose, and if somebody's going to lose it, it'll probably be the defense before it's the offense.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Well, I keep thinking that the way they keep adjusting this offensive line, that somebody's going to be able to get to Mahomes, but I keep saying that for 2 years. You know, they put tuning down, and from guard to tackle, they're playing musical chairs at the line with the left side, and they're still finding ways, man.
How about this?
They're pretty disciplined. Everybody's on the same page. All 11 starters there.
Yeah, and Reed doesn't get enough recognition for that. I mean,
he used to play offensive line.
Yeah, he's
so good at it.
He's getting recognition by getting Super Bowls, but he needs to be he is the coach of the year for the last 5 years. Is that fair to say?
Well, when you got a talent like Mahomes,
but he's making it work.
But you can definitely say he's the best coach in the league, right? I mean, he's always been the best quarterback guy. You know, I have to admit that. Look at some of the guys that he's gotten the best out of every single quarterback statistically he's ever coached in the NFL.
Even Detmer, who was a backup quarterback,
Todd Detmer.
Yep.
You're going way back, yeah.
He got it out of McNabb. He got out of everybody that touched the ball for him as a quarterback.
Remember, we thought Garcia was washed up. He got to the playoffs with Garcia.
And it was the guy who had the surgeries, who was a back who ended up giving his position to Mahomes.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith, there you go.
Yeah, he come off a gruesome injury that we didn't think he would come back from.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got to be – we got to give – I mean, coach of the year.
I mean, he's always I mean, you could possibly do that. I don't think he cares. I think he'd like to just get this three-peat. I do think that a healthy Lions team could give them a run for the money in the if they get to the Super Bowl. That's a big if.
That's why I don't,
because Aiden Hutchinson would be back and Carlton Davis would be. Ain't that right, Jeremy? So,
Jeremy, I can't get on that train yet, man. And the Detroit Lions can't get healthy enough. They have too many pieces missing. I mean, I still don't trust Goff, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens.
Yeah. Now, Titans fans, if they get to the Super Bowl, they'll get a 4th-round pick for the Hopkins trade instead of a 5th-round pick. That would help Tennessee. They would give them 3 4th-round picks. But, hey, sometimes it is what it is. You just got to take advantage. It feels like the Patriots about 10, 12 years ago were simply the league is just not good enough around them yet.
Right.
You know, they're catching a break there. Well, you've got 10 teams that have less than 5 wins in this league. And Colin Cowherd mentioned this the other day. This time last year, it was half of that. There's not a lot of 8 and 8s. They're just bad, you know, and they're taking advantage of that. Although their vision is not that bad other than the Raiders, you know, they just seem to have.
Robert, like at the end, we sit here and we say these things.
The right breaks at the right time.
It doesn't matter what we say and what the coaches do. The players have to be on the field and they got to do what they got to do to make the plays. And that's where, to me, this year has been the question. It's like, how many games have the Chiefs won that were not slated by what the refs are calling at the last 10 minutes of a game?
But how many games did the Patriots win like that, where you say that every week and just prepare better?
But that's why, you're right. You're right.
Every game is like a 4-point. I mean, and they just make it comes down to a handful of plays.
Right. And then the thing that you can put your hand and say is like, it didn't matter what the refs called. The team with the better quarterback had the best chance of winning that game.
Yeah. Or they're just air quote better situationally.
Right.
You know, and I think Baltimore's red hot. I do think that they would give them a shot, and I do think Buffalo, but it would be worth watching. But you know, we'll see. You just hate to see them draw a crappy team like a Pittsburgh or somebody in that first round, because you're like, okay, that's AFC Championship game again. That's, you know, let's go ahead and ride them in there. But just going to get your thoughts on them. They're pretty impressive. I know a lot of people's tired of looking at them, but if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And they ain't always beat the man yet, right?
You got to win, man. You can't say you're going to win. You can't put it on paper, man. You got to go out there and win.
Let's recap last week. You know what? Let's start off with these college games. 1 week ago tonight, Indiana Notre Dame, Indiana coach, real cocky. Finally Nick Saban. He's like, "What'd you learn from Nick Saban?" And the guy said, "I learned this and that." And finally, Nick Saban looked at him. This Kirk Cianati, whatever his name is. He says, "Well, I didn't teach you how to talk all that crap that you talk." Or she didn't say it like that. Did you catch that? I mean, he's a cocky guy, man. I'm like, of course, they got beat by Notre Dame on Friday night. What's your thoughts on that and just that game in general? I thought it was a pretty good game.
I thought the first few minutes of the game was the first half was pretty competitive, but you could just see the creeping of the 4 or 5 players with the 4-3-2 players, star players from Indiana. Like you could tell
the star players start to add up.
You saw that when they were on the field and you saw that slide off when you were watching TV. You're like, oh my god, this game's gonna be long, and then all of a sudden it wasn't long at all. It was just a smackdown. So I wanted it to be more competitive. I had high hopes. I was hoping for one of these teams to come out, at least 2 of them to come upsetting these teams, but they didn't. I'm not sure if it's the 2-week break. I'm not sure if it's a combination of 2-week break.
They were kind of a drag, wasn't they?
There's a lot of things that can be fixed. There's a lot of things that can happen in the next few years to fix this competition the way it is. But you look at the end of the teams that won, they looked like they was going to win after the second half started. Like it wasn't even a coaching thing. It was the players. They put it out on the field. Like Notre Dame and Ohio State, and
it was really a letdown. And you're right. I was looking over information about this week's games, and I thought, not to sound repetitive, but these committee people, I mean, Boise State won the Mountain West, and they had a bye week. That makes no sense whatsoever. I don't think Tennessee should have had to play Ohio State. Tennessee should have played Pitt or Penn State or somebody. It just, quite frankly, and you look at SMU, look like they really had no business being in there.
Right. None of these.
That's the thing about college and collegiate. Those bureaucrats, they like to play nice and play fair instead of just saying who's the best teams here.
Right.
Let's forget about records for a while. Yeah, I'd much rather have seen Ole Miss and Alabama, be honest with you, in this thing, rather than your SMUs of the world.
Yeah,
and quite frankly, Indiana. No offense to Indiana fans, or SMU for that matter.
Look, it's the first time these 2 programs have been up in the top in a long, long time.
Long time.
Some 70 years for Indiana, and SMU since like the late 70s, early 80s, before they got the penalty.
Cheating, yeah.
Yeah, so look, it's good for football to kind of have those programs come back up for college football, but for those programs, fine. But for the people watching it, for the people who put time, fans, we could have just had them play and not been on TV. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it was like
I'd rather just see those teams at a bowl game, and
it was shit. They just give them a bowl game next time. I don't know, whatever. Like, listen,
what's your thoughts about Tennessee losing that bad to Ohio State?
I think it proves how much Ohio State's depth they have, and I would say I keep saying it, if the team has depth, they're more likely to win. Ohio State does. They didn't show that way. They just keep getting better. After that loss in Michigan, they just okay, let's refocus. Let's just get re-engaged, and they did. And Ryan Day got them out there playing against one of the fastest defenses that was playing in college football this year. That didn't show. You didn't see anything positive that Tennessee was known for on that field, and that's how good Ohio State has been playing the last 2 games. So if you're somebody who has to play Ohio State, watch out, because they're re-engaged, they're refocused, and they're hitting on all cylinders. And I'm not sure if you want to play that team right now. And that would be Oregon, right? Or you want to have to play them?
Yeah, they play Oregon, and Yeah, like I said yesterday, man, Tennessee's not quite there yet. They're closing the gap between a Texas or
Rob, how many 5-star
Georgia, Ohio State teams that just got more 5-star players.
How many more 5-star players will UT need to be in that level? I mean, what we're saying, we call them like 7 to 10 more players, 3 to 4 on each side.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Now, you're talking about for one team, they have to start creeping up into that top 5. They recruit about 10th right now, and they're playing like a top 10 team. But teams that win national championships, traditionally, I know Michigan was a little bit of an outlier, but they had a lot of first-round picks last year. They have, like Georgia, Alabama in the past, they're right there, 1 or 2. They're right there in that top 5 as far as recruiting ranking. Now, that's changed a little bit because we got transfer portal stuff. So all that's thrown out. Then you got to add in the ranking with your transfer money. And all the talk this past week was, and I actually agree with Stephen. I don't agree with him on hardly anything, but they're paying $20 million in NIL money at Ohio State. They better start winning some big games. That's big money. And, Tennessee's not quite got there. They came a long way from the team 4 years ago that was getting ran off the field by Alabama and Florida. Now they're beating Alabama and Florida every other year. So they closed that gap. They just need to pick it up. They've got it with the quarterback. Now they need to get some size defensively on that defensive line around the nose of the football. They couldn't get to Will Howard. Ohio State did what I said they should do. They passed to set up the run. Jeremiah Smith, a future first-round pick, 2 touchdowns, great play. That E.J. Henderson, those other wide receivers are potential first-round picks. They got 3 guys.
Yeah, I mean,
plus they got a veteran quarterback. Tennessee still got a very young quarterback too.
Yeah, I mean, they scored 10 points. After they scored first 10 points, the UT looked like they was already tired. Like they didn't even go to halftime.
I thought they were going to come back after they scored that first 10 points, but
and I was like,
that's what I get for thinking.
I wanted to see more out of these kids. They had a break. I was hoping to make it more competitive. It didn't happen for this first weekend of football. And, now some of these bowl games are actually more competitive than what we saw.
And I hardly watch any of them now because I'm just thinking playoff. Let's see, Clemson, Texas. That was pretty competitive. I just got done watching that. I knew the score, but I was just curious how it played out. Pretty competitive game. Texas.
That wasn't that bad. That was a lot closer than Texas should have had.
Yes.
So do you still trust Texas? Or are you?
Yeah, I still trust. I mean, my preseason was Ohio State over Georgia, and I have to go back and look at the brackets. I don't know if that'll happen that way, but I still feel pretty good about that. Feel a lot better about Ohio State.
Can Ohio State beat Oregon?
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I said that in the preseason. I thought they would beat them in the Big Ten championship if Ohio State wouldn't have screwed up against Michigan, but they did. And but we'll see. That'll play out this weekend. What do you think about Pittsburgh, Baltimore? Looks like Pittsburgh's they played a tougher half of their schedule in the NFL. Now it looks like they're going to end up being a wild card. And a lot of the Russell Wilson hype has kind of gone down a little bit as Baltimore beat them. And, of course, they got lost again to Kansas City. What's your thoughts on that matchup, particularly last weekend's Pittsburgh-Baltimore?
I mean, that was a tremendous game by Baltimore.
It's always good, ain't it?
On all levels. The offense came off and started scoring. They ran the ball, which was very important. Even Lamar had a few yards and a touchdown for himself, so that's good. Is he going to get MVP a third time?
Well, he made a good push about when they beat up on Houston again, like we was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen's still slightly favored But I wouldn't mind if he got it. I have to really dig into the numbers there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that defense in Baltimore didn't let up either. So, I don't. What are we going to see here? Like, right now the Steelers are still in the mix, right? They're fifth.
Well, they clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah, they're fifth.
The odds of them winning this division now slim and none. I mean, they've got one more game to play, and they got to hope that Baltimore loses next week to Cleveland. That ain't gonna happen. They did lose to Cleveland earlier this year, and Cleveland will love to do that.
I can't say now there's so much
but
parity.
Baltimore looks like the steamroller right now.
Right. Is Pittsburgh going to win their next two games?
Well, they got to play. They've already lost one of them. They've already lost on Christmas Day to Kansas City, and they got to play Cincinnati one more game, and that's it.
Right. But they got to win
next week.
Right.
But
they can.
I don't know. I think they could beat Cincinnati right now, but it is what it is, man.
I think that game's going to be important.
We already talked about Houston, Kansas City. Any thoughts about Houston looking like they're just taking a step back as a whole?
I just think the injury bug got them this year, and they weren't able to get off of that. I don't think they're taking
you mentioned Tank Dell, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that people were expecting them to score more because they scored a lot last year. And look, the defenses catch up, coordinators catch up. They know what you're doing, so you can't just keep doing the same thing and winning.
Slowick's stock has went way down as an OC now.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, he ain't the one on the field, so stock and no stock, like it's hard to score more than 21 points in the NFL. Like it's very difficult. And I will continue saying this. You got to score 27 plus points to win the football game anyways. You can't just stick on 6 points like Chicago did yesterday.
Yeah, what an awful game. Yeah.
To the Seahawks. Like you can't just play a game like that and be okay with that. And the problem is that Texas has gotten a lot of weapons. They did a lot this offseason to try to give Stroud a better opportunity, and it just didn't happen. I don't think it's a sophomore slump. It just so happened that AFC has gotten tougher. Their division isn't that tough, and I think that didn't help them because they're not competitive, right? They can't
be
the
powerhouse teams.
Right.
Baltimore smoked them. Kansas City smoked them.
Right.
I should have never picked them. I feel like an idiot. So I'm still up 10 games. You won 2. I won 2. I won the 2 colleges.
Right.
You won the 2 pro games.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota, Seattle. You really got to be frustrated with Geno Smith. I thought Seattle had that game last week. It was a great comeback there. Good drive by Sam Darnold at the end. But when Seattle, plenty of time, about a minute to go, just to tie it up. Of course, Geno Smith does what he does. Throws a pick, ends it. What's your thought? That was a good game. That was like a playoff atmosphere up there in Seattle.
Yeah, it was Minnesota. It was a great game. I'm not sure if everybody was able to catch it. That was one of the best games, I think, for two teams that are hungry.
Between that one and the Washington Philly.
Yeah, they're very competitive, and those two coaches actually played it out, and these guys are doing it on the field. And listen, Minnesota has a balanced team. Everybody talks about Jefferson and Addison, but they ran the ball.
Yeah, Aaron Jones. I thought his best years were behind him. I'd get younger at running back, but they have a lot of balance, and Hawkinson couldn't have came at the right time. He's coming back. He came back from injury, so he helps you in the middle of the field. You got the speedy guy with Addison, and then, of course, you got that true number 1 there. What a season they're having, man. 13 wins.
This could be a game where a season like where Tampa Bay had what's his guy's name who's coaching in Nashville, where he had everybody he needed around him. And
Gruden.
Where Gruden coached him, but what's the quarterback's name?
Brady?
Trent Dilfer. Right? This could be a year that.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean the year they actually won the Super Bowl?
Yeah. This could be
Tampa Bay did. No, you're talking about the 0-2 team.
This because they got a decent defense.
Yeah.
they got a good an offense that scored enough, and they got a quarterback that's not putting them in a bad situation. So, you know, and remember, Dilfer did it for 2 teams. He did it for Seattle.
No, it wasn't Dilfer, man. I'll find out who it was.
No, it was
Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson, yeah.
Brad Johnson,
But he
34-year-old.
Those are 2, Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer, two
Dilfer
guys.
did it with the Ravens.
Yeah. So
of course, unfortunately, against the Titans. God, man, I hate that guy.
but like, you know, those they weren't number 1 picks. They just did the job, controlled the game, then made sure they made very little mistakes. And sometimes you don't need a number 1 quarterback, like, you know. So Minnesota has a good chance.
Yeah.
You know?
Seattle's got everything but that quarterback. That guy's a pretty decent coach there, but I would have probably went offensive minded in Seattle. And Seattle is trying to, and the front office is thinking, man, what can we do to get a quarterback? We're just good enough not to be anything right now. You know, I know Seattle won last night in a god awful game, looked like a baseball score, but losing games like that game against Minnesota, that just shows you he's just a bridge quarterback, and that's it. And I'm sure they're thinking, man, what can we do we would sure like to get that guy, you know, because they've already got J.J. McCarthy, you know, on that rookie contract, but they think he's going to come back from that meniscus tear in Minnesota, you know. That being said, at least you got the roster ready in Seattle. You got the running game. You got the defense. You know, we shall see. Got the skill players. Got 2 great skill players out there. So it's a good win for you, man. Good win there. Of course, like I said, I'm still up 10. Maybe we'll start over in the postseason. I'll cut you some slack there. How about that?
That's real. I'm not, you know, you want to talk about competition. I'm in a championship game this weekend for my fantasy, right? And I had 3 of my tight ends out. 3. I have Otten, Tampa Bay. He's not going to play. I have this guy in Cleveland.
Njoku's out.
He's out. And then I got Goddard, who's on the injury list for the Eagles. So I'm going to lose points because I don't have.
Yeah, you might want to just pick up a backup somewhere.
I can't. This is a championship game.
Yeah, but there's always the waiver wire, you know.
I'm going to see right now. I'm going to try to pick one up right now, but there's no tight end out there that's going to give me points.
You never know, man. You never know. Young players like to throw the tight ends. Check out the backup for Cleveland is what I would do. Or find out who's bad against the tight end and just check a waiver wire. That's what I used to do when I was doing fantasy daily. So tomorrow is a big day in the NFL. People don't realize this, but Denver, Cincinnati, this is a playoff-like atmosphere. You know, if Cincinnati wins, they win out, and Denver, who's got to play Kansas City next week. Now, Kansas City might not have anything to play for. Well, they don't technically. But Andy Reid likes to play his starters. He don't want them to be too rusty, having 2 weeks off. So if for whatever reason, if Cincinnati can beat Denver and beat Pittsburgh next week, Cincinnati's in the playoffs, you know, believe it or not. I guess I can give you my analysis of it. Broncos are they're pretty healthy. Cincinnati does have 2 more injuries on the defensive line. Broncos played well at times, but not so much on the road against formidable opponents. Cincinnati, the defense is something to watch here. A little bit of a chance of rain, but look how good of a level high that Burrow's playing right now. That's in Cincinnati. If this were in Denver, I would go the other way. I think the Bengals going to beat the Broncos 27-24 and get the win at home and keep their playoff hopes alive and scare Bronco fans. What do you think about that game? It's going to be played tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central on NFL Network. It's a big game, actually.
It is a huge game. I think it's more of a coach's challenge than it is a player's challenge. Taylor's going to have to figure out how and where can Cincinnati impact and make this Denver Bronco that's resilient team. That's a resilient team. Like, where can he hurt them? And I think right now Broncos are running fast and running hard, and I think they're going to upset this team. I don't think Burrow hasn't. He could probably score. They're probably going to score about 27, 32 points, but
yeah,
I think this Bo Nix and this defense, they a balanced team right now, and it's going to be hard to beat them. This is going to be. What'd you say that score was?
27-24 Bengals. I got Bengals winning.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like 32-27. I think the Broncos will take it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I thought about picking Denver, but I think Bo Nix, Burrow.
Yeah, it's not about
I'm going to take Burrow.
it's the two defenses, man. And the thing is with if Burrow's going to keep chucking the ball, you got those cornerbacks and that safety back there for Denver. They're good, man. They don't play around, and Surtain and them. They can score points too. Like they will snag the ball. They cause fumbles up there, and they can score. So I feel like that team is going to step up for their quarterback, knowing that he's.
You might be right. You might be right.
I want to see that. I would like to see that happen. But if you win, I'm not going to be upset. That's your boy. That's your boy anyway.
Put me up 9 games if I.
That's your boy anyway. Burrow's your boy, so you want to see him.
I love Burrow. I'm going down with the Burrow. Atlanta, this is a good one, guys. Atlanta, Washington. You think, that seems like a stupid game. No, Atlanta's hanging on. They're leading again in the NFC South. I don't know what happened to Tampa last week.
Right.
Where they lost that game to the Cowboys, man.
Right.
What happened? What do you think happened there?
I just they didn't score enough, man. And the Cowboys defense came up.
Well, I know that.
They showed up from McCarthy, but I don't think that that the Bucks aren't gonna put it on the Panthers. Like they're gonna go in there and they're gonna go hard on them. So Atlanta, listen, you always
look pretty good. Of course, that was against the worst team in the league in the Giants.
They play upset every year to somebody. But this year they won't be able to. I think that Tampa Bay will revert and be able to come off the ball.
They win that division?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Stupid thing on my
I can't trust anybody in the NFC South anyways. Don't put your money on any of those teams.
Do you like Atlanta on the road again? Now, this game right here, Atlanta, Washington, you got Michael Penix. The 8th overall pick versus the second. We just talking about Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
It's Washington. And by the way, Washington's not locked in. They're close,
right? But
they're not locked into a playoff spot like a Minnesota, like a Green Bay. They're still fighting for that third wild card.
Right.
I do like Washington, obviously, to get the win here. 24-20 at home. Some are calling for Atlanta to get the win. They're going to play well because Penix is there, the defense and all that. But it's at Washington. I can't trust Atlanta's defense on the road.
I can't trust Atlanta. I think that Jaden Daniels is going to put on his shoulders and make sure that he doesn't drop the ball or make any mistakes. And I think you're about the right. I think it's going to be 27, but I think it'll be 27 to like 12. I don't think Atlanta will score enough. I think Penix is going to show his rookie like side. He's more of a pocket quarterback anyways, and Washington has a decent defense to force him to make mistakes. So I'm gonna pick the Commanders on this one.
Yeah, Commanders. Me too.
27
playoff atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your thoughts I'll let you go first this time. Green Bay, Minnesota.
Look,
playoff teams right there.
NFC North this year, you guys giving up. Tip my hat. I usually call you guys
talented.
Yeah, this is look
talented division overall.
I was talking about Minnesota earlier. I don't think right now anybody can stop that train, and I think they're gonna win this game. Man, they got a good balanced team on the offense. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. They got their tight end back now, which helps them.
Hawkinson,
security
yeah.
blanket. So I think they're just on a roll right now, and they're gonna just keep rolling with it. So I think they're gonna win that game against Green Bay. It's not gonna be simple, but this one's gonna be a little closer. 27-24, Vikings up.
Okay. Yeah, actually, Green Bay's actually favored in this game. Once I looked at the injury report, yeah, they come off that shutout win against New Orleans. Then the week before that, they destroyed Seattle. Green Bay did. But Green Bay's got 3 defensive starters down this week, including really good linebacker there. And it's a short week, and it's at Minnesota.
Yeah.
And Minnesota beat them at Green Bay earlier this year. I do think Green Bay's playing better football now. So that being said, I like Minnesota to get that 14th win, man. And this will set up a Week 18 showdown for the North if you're still watching there, Jeremy. Next week, it'll set it up for Detroit, Minnesota for the NFC North and a potential 1 seed and getting the bye week. You know, I know it would be for Detroit. I'm not sure about the tiebreakers with Minnesota, but right now, they're holding their breath right now. I like 27-23. I do like the Vikings to get that win over Green Bay, although Green Bay's technically favored in this game. I like Minnesota at home. This is going to be a great game, man.
Yes, yeah, and I think the thing that's going to help Green Bay the most to make them competitive is the fact that they can play inside and don't got to worry about being in Green Bay because it's cold up there.
Yeah, that's true. Be a fun, high energy game. Let's go to these college playoff games here. Boise State, Penn State. It's going to be fun watching this guy, Ashton Gentry, run. He did have Genty. Ashton Genty kind of reminds me of a mini. He's a combination of Bijan Robertson with the Falcons and Derrick Henry there with in the NFL. That being said, 11-point favorite for Penn State. Their run defense is much better than Oregon, where, this guy had 192 yards against Oregon. 3 touchdowns, Genty. He's coming off a bye week. Penn State played last week. I think he'll have some flashes there. I will watch this game. This will be interesting. But ultimately, I think Penn State, just a better team, good run defense. 31-23, Penn State wins. But it's probably within that spread. But who knows, man? It's hard to tell. But I do like Penn State to get this win. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a great game too. I think Penn State needs to figure it out. They need to score and score fast. And this guy Genty, he's gonna run the socks off no matter what defense is shown out there. I think he's proven that.
First round draft pick, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's proven that and he's shown that. So Penn State's gonna have a hard time, but this is gonna be a close one. I think this is gonna be like 24-21. I don't think it's gonna go.
Do you like Penn State? Or you like both?
Yeah, I like Penn State doing this, but it's gonna be close, man.
Okay.
I just see a lot of whistles and a lot of just monotony in this bowl game. I don't know. I just after seeing what Penn State did last week, it's like
they're good in the trenches, man.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Texas, Arizona State? I'll let you go here.
No, so so Arizona State is one of the fastest and youngest teams out there.
Yeah.
They rebuilding.
Young head coach too, 34 years old.
Rebuilding from what was going on there a few years back, and they're back in the game. I don't think they have enough yet. I think they still need a few more guys and more depth, but they're not going to bend over and take a beating. They're going to be competitive. Texas needs to be very careful because if they play nonchalant, they're going to get it. And I think this game is going to be close too. This is going to be like 27-21, but Texas is going to win because Texas has a bigger and better team right now. But
better overall.
Yeah,
Arizona State's had a great year.
Good season, guys.
I do like that running back. They got that Cam Scatterbo. He kind of reminded me of that Schrader guy with Missouri last year. For Arizona State. That being said,
Kevin, this is a top 4 win. This is okay. So anybody who wanted to see the 12-team playoff, we're still seeing the same thing that we would have
The same group of guys.
Same group of teams.
You rearrange everything, and it still ends up the same. The same math equation.
Exactly. So,
that being said, Texas good run D, man. 31-17. Texas pulls away late, gets the win. Let's move on. Want to get to that Notre Dame game. So, Coach Carroll likes Notre Dame. Listen, folks, I know that Georgia's going to have a new player in there at quarterback here. Let me make sure I got his name right here. Sophomore, not Carson Beck here. I thought I had Gunnar Stockton. Who names their kid Gunnar? But hey, Gunnar, maybe they've wanted him to play Gunnar, but he ended up playing quarterback. Good for him. But as soon as he came in, they made a run against Texas the other day. Yes, Notre Dame's good defensively, but Notre Dame has a lot of very simple offense. I think Georgia will be able to figure this out. Early on, by the way, Notre Dame was favored early on in this game when it hit the line. Now, Georgia's a 1.5 favorite. This is going to be a tight game. By the way, Kevin, I don't know about you and Carlos here, but this game is going to be played on New Year's night at 7:45 Central, 8:45 Eastern. I'm not going to be able to watch all these. These games are 4 hours. I'm not going to stay up to midnight watching this football game on a work day. I'm really irritated with that. Go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Is that annoying or what?
If this committee wants to do anything and fix all that, fix the scheduling on these games, man. Like,
this one should be played in the afternoon, man.
Like, this is tomorrow in the afternoon.
Or play it Saturday night.
Why are you putting this on a work? I mean, there's some people that work every day. It don't matter, but
but the majority of us don't want that.
Yeah, come on. At least give us a day where.
And then you're in the Eastern time zone, dude.
Yes,
this will be at 1 o'clock at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Only reason I saw the end of that game in the playoff last year is because I was under the weather, and I just happened to wake up and I text you, "Hey, yeah, I guess Washington finally beat Texas," but it was 1 o'clock in the morning. You remember that last year?
Yo, I'm like some of these NBA
Texas
games,
almost had them at the end with that Hail Mary throw at the end.
NBA doing the same junk too. Just fix the time where the East Coast people aren't affected by it, man. Like,
they always want to play. And listen, I got friends on the West Coast. They don't care that much about football like we do, man. That's why they broke up the Pac-10. We love it in the South and the East. So
we can't say all that, but I mean, fix the time schedule. Let's go.
Right. Not to get too sidetracked. 24-19, guys. I like Georgia to beat Notre Dame. What do you like here?
Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame gets it yet. They need to be in the conference. They need to just suck it up, go in one and be uber competitive and be the team of the conference. And until they do that, they're not going to figure it out and get to where they need to get. That's my opinion. And I know they've been, independent for years, but how many years have they been independent that they've been the championship team?
Yeah. So who you liking? It sounds like you like
Georgia is gonna win this game. It's gonna be a little fight. They're gonna make it a fight, but I'm saying it's gonna be 32-24.
Oh wow, you like a lot of scoring? Okay.
Yeah, I think both teams can score, but I think Georgia will score on some of the deep. Listen, Indiana is not Georgia, man. So we can't put
Georgia's deep, and even with this Gunner guy, I still like Georgia to win.
You saw Georgia pick up the pace when Beck went out.
He's a running option. We're getting tight on time. Oregon, Ohio State. Not to sound like a broken record, I like Ohio State at a neutral field against Oregon. I just mentioned that run defense of Oregon. You could run the ball on Oregon, and Ohio State, neutral field, they should beat Oregon. Remember, it was 32-31. Mm-hmm. Ohio State had a shot to win that game up in Eugene, and everybody knows it's really hard to win up in Eugene. I think it's going to be a great game, though. 34-26, Ohio State moves on to the next round. Who you like in that game?
Yeah, I like it.
That was your preseason winner, by the way, Oregon to win the championship.
Yeah, I like 32-27. I like Ohio State. I saw them.
Oh, you like Ohio State too?
I see, and I like what they did to Tennessee. And Tennessee had a fast defense, and Oregon's supposed to have a fast defense, but I don't know if Oregon can flex and bend like they need to win this game. And I feel like people in the media, just get out of your head. This ain't got nothing to do with day. These players got to go in there and play the game. You can't coach speed. These players just have it or they don't. And Oregon's a fast team, but Ohio State, I'm not a big fan. This is the first time I'm gonna say this. For this year, what I've seen is not only are they fast, but they're tough and fast. Like they hit. Like they go, they'll go forward.
They got NFL bodies, man.
Yeah, they do. Yes, exactly. And they got depth.
NFL bodies, and
they got depth. And I like
this. Would be an impressive win if Oregon can pull this off, because I see a lot of people picking Ohio State, even though Oregon went undefeated, and they did beat Ohio State earlier this year. I'm with you. Notre Dame has been playing great. I like the coordinator there for Notre Dame. Al Golden is really good at defensive coordinator, and they got the players. Georgia's just got more players.
What bothers me about Notre Dame is that
they got the experience. So
it takes them a long time to get going. Like, play tough and fast from the beginning throughout. Like, why does it take you to the second half to get your motor started? Like, I want to see competitive. Like, I want to see like Ohio State. Just go out there and just start beating up. You say you're the best, go out there and prove it. And that's what Ohio State does. And I want to see that from Notre Dame. I think
they play well again this week. You got to be playing right at the right time. The Mad New Yorker, we're over, man. I appreciate you coming on tonight. You have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Folks, I'll be back next Thursday. I've got work to do and stuff like this. I'll be back live. And of course, hopefully you'll be back here in 25. And this time next week, we'll go over these games.
Yeah, we'll see you next year. And hey, don't drink and drive. Get an Uber, Lyft, or even a buddy to drive you who has not been drinking.
Hey, I've been doing the Uber. I'll be the guy. Just don't throw up in my car. Mad New Yorker, everybody. Have a good night, everybody.